trip. It was a weekend trip with the Aaron Gabra back in the day. And when we got to Glasgow, obviously it was 3 o'clock kick-off, we got there early. They brought us to a pub and there was a Rebel band on. And the place was jam-packed, and it was just, the crack was absolutely 90. It was all the Rebel music, and we jumping around. I remember thinking to myself, like, if I had been going something like that there in Belfast at the time, there would have been this sort of, in the back of your mind, this sort of bit of a fear going like, fucking, you know, something could kick off here, somebody could bust in the door, we could all get fucking shot, you know what I mean? But then I was in Glasgow, and the same thing was happening. And I was like, and there was no fear, there was no worry. You know what I mean? It was just, we're all together. It was just brilliant. So I can understand where you're coming from when your man says, like, how was his Jerusalem? Because that's like, there was a freedom of expression allowed to you among the sort of Celtic fraternity, you know, that you kind of, you know, not a fear when you were in Belfast, but there was a certain, you were cautious about expressing yourself in that respect, you know, in Belfast at the time. But I mean, as far as yesterday goes and those kids, whether or not it'll convert a field, I think it will convert a field. I mean, like, so a lot of those kids, there's a good portion of those kids weren't even Irish. You know what I mean? There was a couple of young Asian lads there. There was a couple of boys. There was a boy from Cameroon. There was a lad from where was he from? Was it from Ghana? I mean, from Kenya. So there was a couple of, you know, lads who weren't Irish, you know, and loved it, absolutely loved it, you know. And guys who maybe wouldn't get along, because all these kids come from the same area. But there's a lot of kids, I mean, like, there's family feuds and there's people who don't get along with each other in areas. But they all got along great yesterday. There was no fights. There was no arguing. I mean, obviously there's a bit of slagging going on, a bit of cracking. I mean, people throwing M&Ms at each other. You know what I mean? But, I mean, and like, was Kieran, one of the lads, Cormac's mate, I've forgotten his name. He brought his little girl along, and he brought a box of Keno t-shirts along. And they, like, as soon as I got on the boat, they started handing them out, and everybody took one. You know, so they're all throwing their Keno t-shirts on and coming to me going, "It's the best t-shirt I've ever had in my life." And it was amazing, man. It was absolutely amazing. You know, just to see them do that. And the best thing for me was as well, these kids live in the shadow of the Aviva. Right? Literally, you can see the Aviva Stadium from where they live. You look out your window and it's right there. And like I would imagine that none of them have been inside it. Right? I didn't ask anything. I didn't want to get into that sort of thing. But nobody ever mentioned about like being inside a stadium before. Nobody mentioned about being a match before. I kind of asked them, "Have you been a match before?" They're like, no. So for us to be able to bring them, not for us, I mean for the Keno and for everybody involved, to be able to bring them all the way to Glasgow and put them inside a big football stadium, watching a match and a great experience, and surrounded by people who give a shit about them and wanting to have a good time. It's just phenomenal when, like, in their own area is a huge stadium of the national stadium for the Irish football team. And they've probably never been inside it, and they might never be inside it for a long time. But Celtic and Celtic fans got together and brought them to Glasgow to give them that stadium experience, you know. And it was amazing, you know. It was absolutely amazing. And today I've been kind of hanging around the house and just thinking about certain things over the course of the day, and you know, just the banter and the jokes. And my wife got sat next to this young lad Nathan, who was a fucking talking machine. I mean, like, he just talked the whole way to Glasgow, like, talking machine. But, I mean, it was phenomenal. And my kids loved it too. My youngest loved it, you know, and she had a great time. My eldest had a great time as well. And the highlight, we were on the boat, and my eldest, Lucia, she spotted Wee J. Right?
Oh, Wee J.
Wee J Beatty. And I didn't see him. She just remembered, she said, "Can I get a photograph of Wee J?" I was like, "Where's Wee J?" And she's not into football. Like, she just knows I've showed her the videos on YouTube and stuff, and I've been watching them. And she went over, and Jay's dad, Martin's a lovely fella, and she got a photograph taken with Wee J. And then Martin came over to me later on, about half an hour later, and said, "You know, give me your address, and I'll send your daughter a T-shirt, you know, from his group, you know, Downs and Proud." So all those sort of experiences, they add to the sort of the Celtic experience. You know what I'm saying? In terms of their travelling. Now, obviously, the boat wasn't great. Right? Obviously, ideally, the stadium would have been full. We would have been playing Barcelona, and the boat would have been packed full of Celtic fans singing, right? But that's just not going to happen. But for what they got and for what happened, you can't. I mean, those kids are never going to forget that, ever. You know what I mean? They're never going to forget that experience that, you know, somebody, they got it for free. They got it for nothing, which is like, that doesn't happen anywhere. There's nothing happening in any other football clubs. I don't know anybody else in the world or in Europe that just, you know, where you give like 30 kids a free experience to go and watch a football team.
No, I don't think there is an equivalent to the Keno Foundation in world football anywhere. I'm pretty sure there isn't. And one thing I'd like to say for everybody that listens to this, it's everybody that listens to this that helps make it possible.
Yeah.
It's guys like the New York Manhattan #1 who donated their year charity money to the Kano Foundation. There's guys that listen to this that's bought tickets for the dance, that's helping bring the kids over. There's guys that do for it's a grand old team to play for and donate the £1 a week or the £5 £1 a month, or £5 a month. And it's all these guys that help make that possible, So it is, as I say, Celtic fans. And that's the beauty of it. And it is by the fans, and it's the fans that help create it. So obviously Pat, Joe, Tommy, John Paul, obviously all the guys, Big Brian, and these are the guys that are at the front line that are actually putting the donkey work in.
Yeah.
But there's a raft of people behind it that are donating, that's helping this cause, and it's just hats off to it. I mean, we can be, as Johnny Mackay says, no doom and gloom. These phrases don't mean nothing, by the way. He talks about it all the time. But at the end of the day, there is no doom and gloom where the Kano Foundation is concerned. And it's just, to me, it's the greatest thing about Celtic at the minute, and I just love it. And I'm proud to play my wee part and help it sort of grow and grow.
Well, I did talk to a few of the kids on the boat on the way home, and I can't explain to them, when they're showing me the photographs of their phones of like them and John Guidetti and Scott Brown, and so they had selfies and stuff, and just stuff they can go back and show their parents and their mates in the street today or tomorrow, whatever. And I kind of tried to explain to them. I said, listen, see that there? I said, that never happens. I said, that happened for you guys. I said, that was primarily, I said, that's the first time that's happened. I was like, so you are the first guys to get that experience. And they're like, oh, that's brilliant. I said, but see this? I said, see the experience you're having now? I said, it's got nothing to do with Celtic as a football club. It's got to do with Celtic as the fans. I said, the fans are behind this. I said, the supporters support this. I said, so it's the fans that do this. I said, it's not necessarily the club. I was like, obviously the club's important. It's important to us all. I said, but you got to remember that, that I didn't let it like this to them, but I kind of try to make a point to them. Listen, you're here because Celtic fans give a shit. Celtic fans care about kids having this experience, but young people supporting Celtic. They want you to have this experience because they know what it means to them. And I explained that to the people that are the adults that were there with us as well. I said, listen, I said this is the biggest trip the Kano have done. This is the furthest group I think they've had travel. I said, so this is the length to which Celtic fans are willing to go to make sure that the ethos of Celtic is spread as far and wide as it can be, and to help kids, and give them an experience. So it's just, you can't say enough good things about it. We can sit here all night and talk about this,
Yeah. So while we're on the subject about Celtic fans doing things, just want to remind everybody, last week we had one of our favourite guests that came onto the show, Tara, the lovely Tara. And just a reminder, Saturday, the first, it's a big food bank collection before the game. So, as I say, if you bring, I know Tara said if you put £1 and you bring like toilet rolls or baby food or it was nappies and stuff like that. Has anybody got a list of what she asked for again?
I can find it for you now. 1 second. Hold on. It's on our Twitter.
Okay.
Give me a second.
So as Tara said, £1, I would suggest give a £5. but a tenner if you feel really generous, and 20 quid if you're mad. But no, give as much as you can.
Okay, here we go.
And a cup.
So what we need is current most wanted items: sugar, UHT milk. That must be long life milk. That's long life milk, isn't it?
Yeah.
UHT juice, same thing, long life juice. Toilet roll, tinned fish and tinned fruit, tinned custard, creamed rice, whatever. Tinned meats, biscuits, baby food, nappies, wipes, toiletries, soap, toothpaste, etc. The essentials, basically. Anything that's not perishable. So the essentials. So there you go. There's a list: sugar, long life milk, long life juice, toilet roll, tinned fish, tinned fruit, tinned custard, rice, tinned meat, biscuits, baby food. And I know that there's an abundance of baked beans at the food bank, so don't bring any more baked beans, right? Because I think they're coming down with baked beans. Once you say tin something, people just gravitate towards beans. I don't know why. So just tin foods, right? That aren't beans. Biscuits, baby food, nappies, wipes, toiletries, soap, toothpaste, and cash donations. They're hoping everybody maybe if you bring one item, then bring £1 with that one item. you know.
Yeah, and in various areas round about the stadium, the boys for the Green Brigade are obviously donating their time, and big kudos to those guys that's going to be doing the collection for the food banks. So, as I say, if the bit that you come in, there is nobody standing there, just ask somebody, because there'll be somebody 50 yards away that you'll be able to donate your stuff to. So make sure everybody, if everybody does it on the way into this ground, it'll be a resounding success, and I've got absolutely no doubt it will be. You know, so everybody just play a wee part on Saturday, and let's make this a success. And this is what Celtic fans are. This is one guarantee when you support Celtic, things like this will happen. You know, you can never guarantee anything in the park. You can never guarantee decisions for the boardroom, but you can guarantee the fans will produce the goods at all times.
Yeah, I mean, there was a collection there on Saturday for a young fella that had died. You know, and I was trying to encourage people around me to give money to it, you know, as we walk past them. As we were trying to get the kids up to the stadium, you know, but I think that's important for me to kind of, for all of us to try and impart that to people, especially young people as well, or people who aren't Celtic-minded, to say, you know, listen, if there's donations going, you don't pass the donation. You don't pass the collection bucket. You put your money in. If it's 50p, if it's £1, whatever it might be, throw your money in and help out, because that's what the club's built upon. That it's built upon charity. It's built upon giving. You know, so and sometimes that could even supersede the love of football. You know what I mean? From being a Celtic fan, it can take over a lot of the time. You know, your love of the fans giving attitude. You know, and the ethos that we've built up over the years. Sometimes that's even worth more the odd time than what happens in the park, because you know it makes you a stronger unit and a more solid collective of like-minded people when you're all geared towards the one goal of, you know, everybody, you know, getting together for a common good, you know, and whether that be food bank collections, Kano Foundation, dinner dances, golf days, I mean Palestine, whatever it is we're doing, whatever it is we're like, people always respond, you know, and that's one of the greatest things about being a Celtic fan.
I would actually say 100%. It's the other things that are more important to me than the football. You know, it's like, see, regardless of the way the team's playing in the park and regardless of the results, I'll still go and watch them. Yeah. But it's like the sort of being part of being a Celtic supporter, the things that represents and the things that you stand for, that to me is more important than the football.
Yeah, but that's the thing. But it's given to you. You know what I mean, if you come in as a Celtic fan, say if you're a young fella, I mean, most young fellas don't give a shit about charity or whatever. You know what I mean? Unlike the likes of Declan and stuff they got there, who was on the other week. But maybe if you're 16 or 17, like you're footloose and fancy free. You don't give a shit about charity or giving that stuff. But that's the thing about being a Celtic fan is, I mean, like it's kind of a responsibility that's kind of handed to you. You know, as you grow up as a Celtic fan, going like, you know, this is part of what it is. This is part of the culture of who we are and what we do is giving, you know, and sharing what we have, you know. And we've said that many times on this show. Like, I mean, working class people, like they'll give you your last, and you got to say, I mean, the majority of Celtic fans are working class people, you know.
Yeah, all have came from working class roots and done well for themselves. I mean, I've mentioned Paul there because Paul's obviously wrote some successful books. He's now a Hollywood film producer and things like that. But he's always got an element of charity towards the. I don't know, Paul. You can explain to the listeners. I'm probably putting you in the spot here, but I think you feel as if, I don't know. You probably feel as if you need to do that. It's because it's part of you.
I mean, I think the way I've always thought about it, Jason, is that. Anything good in life you never get on your own. It always is because the other people have helped you, and I think that any time that you can, whether it's give money or opportunity or time to people, you should do it, because you know that's how you know. There's no point in being good at anything or successful at anything if you've not got people around you that can share it. Because, you know, you'd be the loneliest rich guy in the world. Do you know what I mean? There's no point in having anything like that. And I think in terms of a Celtic context, I think we are, as a support, have always had probably the most working class support in Scotland. And therefore, you know, we still kind of come from a generation where you help your fellow man. You didn't turn the other cheek. You didn't walk past somebody if they're in trouble. And I think that's endemic and in part of Celtic's identity. You know, that's kind of why we're here, because a guy Sligo stood up in the East End of Glasgow, said, I'm not having these people suffering anymore. We're going to do something about this, and we did. And I think that the fans, Celtic Football Club to me, and to everybody listening, to you guys,